What's going on, home team? What's going on, home team? It's your main man, the author. Right back at that ass again. Here's another one. Just want to make this brief video, man. Yeah, some coworkers, man. We came from the bar and we went to Ihop and decided to get something to eat. Right? They made it to the place before I did. I used to live around that area. So, but I hadn't lived there in a while, so I forgot what an IHOP was. But to make a long story short, once I got there, excuse me, I guess one of my female coworkers told a black waitress how I feel about black women, right? Black female waitress started asking me all types of questions. I answered the questions. I don't think she liked the answers that I gave her. Before I knew it, she was serving us food, and then she sat down with us, talking with me, saying all this shit about you can't trust white females, they'll stab you in the back, XYZ, white females will flip on you, black females have long hair too, all this shit, right? And I just had some drinks, man. I came from the bar. I wasn't trying to hear that shit, but I was she wanted to talk because the other black female, she put me on the spot, so I answered the question. I don't think she liked the answers that I had. So, the average waitress will give you your food and just leave. This motherfucker sat down with us, just talking with me, trying to argue me down about black females. I'm like, look, man, they're not my number one choice. I'm sorry. And you talking about, well, white females can stab you in the back, so can black females. And they do it to black men all the time. Just ask black men on YouTube how many black men have been fucked by black females, right? Not to say that white females are perfect or that other nationalities are perfect women. No, you got bitches, Asian bitch women, white bitch women, Mexican bitch women. But at the same time, if my own women are acting right as an alpha male, I'm going to what? Expand my options. What, I'm going to continue to get beat down or try to change someone? That's stupid. You can't change anyone. You have to change yourself. Now, someone who wants to change and they're on that cusp, that line of excuse me, mediocrity and trying to be better, and they want a leader or someone to help them, yeah, you can step up and do that. But try to change someone, that's damn near impossible. It's hard enough to change yourself with the right tools, right? So she goes back and forth, man, and I answer her questions in terms of, oh yeah, some black females have long hair. Then why do so many of them wear weaves? Why are they making the weave industry $1 billion industry? I mean, the same shit we talk about on YouTube. So I put my card out there, man, and she charges my card. She puts everybody's bill on my tab. Now, granted, my card was the only card down at the time, but she didn't even ask, right? So, I mean, I can assume that she just did that. Maybe she did it by mistake, or she was pissed off because she didn't like the answers that I was giving her concerning black women. And here's the thing, man. I mean, I used to not be open with it. I used to talk about it with my friends and things like that. And I'm not saying I'm trying to campaign or anything like that, but I'm at the point in my life where, I mean, even when I was in the Navy, man, I remember I had this brother, Tim. He said openly, he was about 12 years older than me. I was 21 at the time. I met him when I was in basic training school. Well, I wasn't in basic training, but I had another, what we call A school in the Navy. and me and him ended up going to the same command, and we formed a friendship. And he said, oh, he was 12 years older than me at the time, so he was in his 30s. I was like 21 or something. And he always mentioned openly that he did not like black women. And at that point, I didn't openly go out and say that. But he pointed out some factors, made me rethink my childhood and my interactions with black women, and you know, grew up later, man, and had to really reflect. And now I'm just kind of open with it. I'm not even. I back then I was, I just thought about it, but I was ashamed to admit it. Now I'm just kind of open with it, man. If someone tries to put me out there, like some black men, they'll know how you feel, and they'll try to put you out there to shame you in front of other women. But now I'm at the point where I'll defend myself in any form. That's the way I feel. Most black women are not my number one choice. And they say I even look like a guy who doesn't really deal with black women, and that's good because I don't. I like that because I don't want to. I used to take offense to that, but I like that. I like the fact that you feel that I don't date black women because that means one that you know that I have self-respect, a high level of self-respect. So that means that I'm not gonna allow a black woman to disrespect me and run over me. So you already know that black women love to run over black men, so you know I'm not gonna be in that type of relationship. Two, my self-esteem must be high. So I like that. You know, three, I must have some type of dominance within my personality, and I like that, man. I like that because as a kid, not being accepted by the black community, they sort of not being accepted by the black community in my psyche as a kid was devastating, right? Just like I watched Showtime. They had a documentary on Whitney Houston, right? And they were saying how when she first came out as an artist, she was gonna be the first black female icon singer who they were gonna cross over because before that, a lot of black females, you had your Patti LaBelle's and your Aretha Franklin's, but they were mostly big in the black community. I mean, yeah, whites knew of them, but they didn't get that crossover appeal. So they said with Whitney Houston, they was gonna do something different. They were gonna make her the first black female that was gonna start out with crossover appeal. So when Whitney first came out, the white community had embraced her, but before the black community even knew her, right? So she was getting all these awards off the top, off the muscle. As soon as she came into the music industry, she was getting all these awards, Oscars, blah, X, Y, Z, and the third. So she started out with crossover appeal. She didn't have to go through the black community and then get it, like most gospel singers, like back in Sam Cooke's day, right? So she started out with that appeal, and then one day when she went to the Soul Train Awards, and at that award ceremony, she met Bobby Brown. When Whitney Houston went to the Soul Train Awards, blacks booed her because they view her as a sellout or whatever. And she was in her 20s. She was devastated, man. She was devastated. And that's probably what drew her close to Bobby Brown because at that time, Bobby Brown was the bad boy, the one of the first bad boy R&B artists, you know. Even though Frankie Lyman, you had guys who came before Bobby Brown who were drug addicts and they were just as bad, but he was the first bad boy R&B artist, right? And they got together. Now I don't know if Whitney got with him to, get the black community to try to embrace her or what, but that's how that went down. And and that reminds me of me when I was younger. Blacks making fun of the clothes you wore, blah blah blah. You didn't have the pants. You felt devastated. But now that I'm older, I don't want blacks approval. I mean, I can go with it or without it. If you say I sound like a white man, that's good. Good. That means I'm speaking proper English. So I don't really have that. How should I phrase it? I don't really have that want to want to put myself in a position. I don't really want the black community's acceptance. Whoever's acceptance I get, that's fine. I am who I am. But in some ways, that could be devastating, man, because to be black or whatever that means is a lot of times meaning less than, you know, less than the best. Look at look at what totem pole the blacks are at now as a race. And how we treat each other and things of that nature. I wanted to be pro-black all my life, but look how many fake hotep hustlers we got out there right now. On that bullshit. But you know, just wanted to bring things like that up. But now when a black female may try to put it out there to another black female about how black women aren't my first choice. I would used to be ashamed about that, or I used to wouldn't even admit that to anyone. Now I have no problems, man. Just admitting that and saying, yeah, I don't. You aren't my first choice. And here's the reasons. And I can give them the reasons. And you may not like those reasons, but that's too bad, man. Because I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm unhappy because I picked someone who just because they were black and that means I should put up with their bullshit. No, absolutely not. Especially because most of your problems, i.e., black woman, is because of your poor choices, man. And you continue to make those poor choices. And you're angry because you're not looked at in the same light as white women. But you have to remember that society is a patriarchal society, black woman. So basically, if you don't believe in a patriarchal society, not anymore, because the white woman taught you not to believe in that, even though she's a part of a patriarchal society, and her man puts her on a pedestal like that. The white man puts the white woman on a pedestal. But there's nobody to put you on a pedestal because you're over your man, so you're not gonna get that same love because you don't your man's not in that position, and that's partly because you don't want him in that position. So you're not gonna get the love that the white woman gets, or that the Asian woman gets, or that the Brazilian women get. You're gonna continue to be on the bottom of the social economic ladder, and you're not gonna be the number one choice for prominent men. But that's my point, man. I was just thinking that she probably did the tab thing on purpose. I understand that, and I expect it, and I know she was angry about a lot of the things I said, but every question she had, I had an answer for. Black, and it was, and strangely enough, we were talking about that, and then we were talking for about 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes, arguing back and forth. And then out of nowhere, a black man sits down with his white date right in front of us in a booth directly in front of us. And then the black woman whispered to me, "This conversation ain't over." But then she shut it down because she didn't want to offend them. But I saw the difference between the white woman who was with that brother. Quiet. He sat down, had a quiet meal, not a peep. That white girl didn't say anything, man. You didn't hear a peep from that white girl. She wasn't trying to out talk him, trying to out compete him and trying to compete with him verbally and trying to take charge. She wasn't trying to do all that shit. She was just there in the moment, enjoying the company. And I said, see, that's what I'm talking about. And that's something that a guy wouldn't mind once he gets old. Once he's getting older, that's what he wouldn't mind settling down with. That's what he wouldn't mind raising children with. You can say what you want. Oh, that's weak. You're the only man on here talking against his woman. Well, yeah, but we're the only. Look at our women. Other races of men don't have to deal with what we have to deal with. I mean, because if you're a Muslim woman and you go to a Muslim country, they have laws against how they can act. Female gets out of pocket over there, she gets stoned, man. Mexican cartel drug dealer caught his Mexican female cheating, and he decapitated her right on film. I had uploaded that on my Facebook. I had a black woman calling me evil because I shared a video that was already on Facebook. You know, and he grabbed her by her hair, man, and just took a little small knife and he cut her head off in about 30 seconds and held it up in the air like on Mortal Kombat. Now, I'm not saying that's the way to do things. I'm not saying that, man. But I'm just saying that other races of men have ways of dealing with their women if their women get out of line. But the black man doesn't. Black man touches a black female if she gets out of line, and she can call the white man to put him in jail. He can't slap her. He's not supposed to hit her, or he does time in jail, even if she hits him first, right? So who wants to be in that situation? Other Mexican men don't have to worry about that. A lot of these other racial groups of men don't have to worry about that. Arab men, you go over in the Muslim countries, they're all for you disciplining the women. Some of these Hindus, you go to India, a lot of them women, man, they don't get out of line, man. They can get hit with a goddamn bamboo stick across the ass, right? Other lands don't allow their women to get out of line, but the black community in America, in the Western world, in the USA, black women can be all out of line, talk to you, dog you out. I seen another clip. This black female comes up to this black man, and a black man is in line with another big black female, and he's with another female, and she gets mad, and she tells him to take off his shoes. I guess she bought him the shoes, so she's screaming at him, and now they're in the store, they're in public. She tells him to take off his shoes. He takes off the shoes. She said, "Take off the socks." So he listens to her. He takes off the socks. Then she takes her drink and she throws it. She throws it. I'm sorry. She throws it in his face. You see, that's the shit that bothers me. He's doing everything you ask. Because me personally, I ain't taking off shit. I don't care if I have your sister at Walmart and you find your sister on my dick. I'm not taking off shit. I don't care what you bought. Ain't no Indian giver here. Finders keepers, motherfucker. You bought them for me. They're mine. It's mine now. But some of these guys are so afraid of these women, or they so afraid of going to jail or whatever, they'll just go along with it. So she told him to take off his shoes. He took off his shoes. She told him to take off his socks. He took off the socks. But that wasn't enough. She was still angry, this black female. So she took her drink and threw it in his face and got a lot of that drink on his white T-shirt. And what do they say? Does the store pull back? Does the store pull back the black woman and kick her out the store? They said, "No, you guys have to leave." Now, why isn't anyone grabbing this black woman, calling the police on this black woman? She's bullying this man, embarrassing this man in front of the whole store, and now she throws a drink in his face, and now they have to leave? He wasn't bothering anybody. He was in line about to check out with his merchandise. Why do they have to leave? And he did everything she asked. He took off his shoes like she asked. He took off his socks like she asked. And that wasn't enough. She had to take her drink and throw it in his face. A drink that she was drinking off of. See, and that's the shit. That's the shit I don't like. Now, granted, I've seen Mexican women break out windows. It's disgruntled women. It's crazy women in all races. However, being the queens of the earth, the sisters, the god, the female god of the universe, the black woman is the god. Nothing's more sexier than a black female. Why is she acting this way? You see? You can't pose these questions in a black community. You can't ask these questions. That's fucking nonsense, man. That man did everything you asked, and you still felt need to. He's barefooted in the store because you asked for his shoes and socks, and that wasn't enough. You had to throw your drink in his face. Now, if he started beating her ass, every cop in the world would have wanted to show up and put him in handcuffs, even though he didn't initiate that. So that's my point, man. Black women are the only dog off the leash, man. You know, so of course other men aren't going to complain about their women on the net because black women say, "Oh, you're the only group of men who are complaining about your women." No, because other races of men have ways to they are allowed to deal with their women. There are other races of men, their women don't get out of line like that. Not in other parts of the world. In India, this man caught his wife cheating. He threw acid in her face, permanently disfigured her. And I think I saw on HBO one man who did that got life in prison, and that was one of the first men who served life in prison for throwing acid in his wife's face. But previously, before that, that was a primary thing that men used to do. If he caught his wife cheating, he can permanently disfigure her. He'd throw acid in her face. And this female's, her face was half melted off. Men would do that. And with no repercussion. He was one of the first ones that got actually life for doing that. But that's my thing, man. Other races have ways to keep their women in line. Black men in America don't. And you see the end result. Now, I'm not saying people say, "Oh, poor females being subjected to blah, blah, blah." But what's the alternative? Poor black men being subjected to these crazy black females, getting beat up on trains, getting punched in the face in stores, being stripped barefoot in stores. I mean, I definitely, I'm not saying I want to see females get their heads cut off, but I definitely don't want to see men humiliated in the stores and beat up on trains and punched in the face, and in gas stations. You know, and no one's really talking about that. You know, you know these females, some of them, yeah, it's like they've lost their minds. You know, and that's why you don't hear about other races of men complaining as much as black women because you know you go to their countries, they have a way of dealing with their women, and they're allowed to deal with that with their women. You know, if you go to China, the average Chinese man who catches his wife cheating, he fucks her up. Ain't shit probably gonna happen to him. He might get a pat on the back. You know, she might get arrested. You know what I mean? Now, like that in the U.S. in the inner city with the black community, right? Mexican cartel, you cheating on him, he got a way to deal with that shit. Black man, he get cheated on, he ho ho ho, world laughs at him, right? It's funny. Oh, you shouldn't have, you know, whatever. It's still your fault, black man. Ho ho ho. That's why I say in some ways, man, the black man is either the strongest man on earth for just still being here or just scared to die. Won't kill himself because we face a lot of pressures, man, that other men don't have to face. We face a lot of pressure, a lot of bull. We put up with a lot of bullshit. Because the average man, just looking at our life, make him want to jump off a bridge. Men from other races, we put up with a lot of shit that a lot of other men do not have to put up with. I'm not saying it's still men who don't, take matters in their own hands, but as a whole, black men they have to get bullied by their women. That's why I have no qualms with telling a black woman how I feel. I have no problems with letting other black women know that they are not my first choice. I'm not saying I won't date any of them, but they are not my first choice. Not at all. So I just want to make this video, man. I went a little bit over. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments below. Let me know what you think, man. Appreciate all the new subscribers. And you guys enjoy your holiday, all right?